very, very few people and very, very few organizations can clearly state why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make money. That's a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose, what's your cause, what's your belief? Why does your company exist? Why did you get out of bed this morning? And why should anyone care?
What makes life powerful and meaningful and substantive is the expiration date. If we were to live forever, we could be slothful and lazy and indifferent because we'd have forever to get it straight. But the fact that the clock is ticking puts a sense of urgency on each and every one of us. And I know you're saying, well, I'm 20, I don't need to hear. Yeah, you do. You need to hear that because you won't be 20 long.
And the question is, if you died today, what ideas, what dreams, what abilities, what talents, what gifts will die with you?
How do you keep going? Why do you keep going? When the world says everything else is supposed to be opposite. Pain is a repetition of the cycle. Until you learn how to figure it out, until you learn how to tap it on the back and say, I know you there, but I'm built to deal with you. I don't want nobody to leave here today and not understand why we must find a way to push through pain to understand that's on the other side of that is glory.
Do not take the easy way out. Do not give up based on instinct. If you are forced to stand down, to retreat, so that you can rebuild and re-attack, so be it. But make that decision based on logic, not on the instinct of surrender and defeat.
When I used to do seminars on how to become a champion, I would always ask people, why do you want to be a champion? Or what do you want to accomplish? Why are you training? And they will, if a guy would get up and he would say, well, I want to train because I think that if I get muscular and I feel like I'm getting the kind of definition, then I maybe can enter a bodybuilding competition. I said, sit down. I said, if you think this way, you're going to be a loser. You're never going to make it because there's no maybe. You got to get up and say, I want to be a champion. And I do whatever it takes. The amount of hours it takes, the posing, the this, the that, the visualization, looking at training footage, looking at motivational books, reading this, whatever it takes, I would do. That's the answer I want to hear from you. You can detect right away those that are going to be shaky and that will fall behind and they will not go all the way, and those that are very hungry. And that hunger you have to develop because you have to create a goal for yourself, whatever that may be, a short-term goal and a long-term goal. And you got to go after that. And if you do not see it, and if you do not believe it, who else will?
The only thing that you can control that influences success in life is how hard you work, how honest you are, and how well you deal with others. You can control those variables. You can't control how lucky you are, although the more you work, the luckier you get. You have no influence on the intellectual capabilities that God did or did not give you, but you can work as hard as possible. You can be scrupulously honest so that people respect you, and you can get along with others because nobody does anything by themselves.
Nobody you know has actually created success without working their face off.
Everything worthwhile is uphill. It's the greatest life lesson I could teach you. Everything. Everything that's going to be worthwhile in your life, it's all uphill. Your dreams, they're all uphill. If you ever have a great relationship, it's all uphill. Getting through Liberty University, it's all uphill. Everything worthwhile is uphill. And that's why you and I need to be intentional. Because you only go uphill if you're intentional. You see, most people, they don't lead their life. Most people accept their life. And everything that you want, the dreams, the hopes, the make a difference part of your life, everything, it's all uphill. That no one has ever spoken, no successful person has ever spoken or written a book on accidental accomplishments. It's all intentional. If you interview a successful person who's on the top of their game and they're on the top of their mountain and you ask them, how did you get there? Never has anybody want to ask, how did you get on top of your mountain? No one has ever been asked that question and kind of look kind of quizzically and say, I have no idea. Gosh, I just woke up. Here I am, amazing. You see, the dream is free, but the journey isn't. It's all uphill. And the reason we need to be intentional in making a difference is making a difference is not easy. Doesn't come quickly. You see, here's our challenge. We have uphill hopes and downhill habits. And you can't go uphill with downhill habits. And the only way that you and I can ever achieve the potential that we have, the God-given potential. You see, your potential is God's gift to you. What you do with that potential is your gift back to God. None of us can achieve that unless we're intentional. And I want you to be intentional in 3 areas. Let me give them to you quickly. The 3 areas that I want you to be intentional in is in your personal development and growth. My life was totally changed. In my young 20s, when Kurt Kampmeyer was having breakfast with me, and he asked me, after I graduated from college with my first degree, he asked me, he said, John, what is your personal growth plan? Well, I didn't have one. I didn't know I was supposed to have one. No one had ever told me I had a personal growth plan. I graduated from college. I was in my first year of ministry, and I was just working hard. I didn't know I was supposed to have a personal growth plan. And when I told him I really didn't have one, he said these words that just changed my life. He said, John, growth is not an automatic process. You don't grow automatically. If you grow, you've got to grow on purpose. I went to my friends. I went around probably for the next 6 months. I said, do you have a growth plan? No. 300 friends. No one had a personal growth plan. And I kept thinking of those words. It's not an accident. You've got to be intentional. It's all uphill. You've got to have a growth plan. I developed a growth plan. I've developed a growth plan back in my 20s, and I have a growth plan that I've used throughout my life, and at 71, I still have a personal growth plan that you see, the only guarantee that tomorrow is going to get better is you're growing today. It's the only guarantee. So when I was young and I got on my growth plan, I heard Earl Nightingale say that if you spend 1 hour a day, every day, on a certain subject for 5 years, you'll become an expert on the subject. And leadership was my love as a very young man. I thought, I would love to be an expert on leadership. And Earl Nightingale says if I spend 1 hour a day, every day on the subject of leadership in 5 years, I can become an expert. And so I began that journey, that 5-year journey. And so I talked to leaders. I read what I could on leadership. I practiced leadership. I did every day, leadership. And every day I would ask myself this question, how long will it take? How long will it take? Well, how long will it take? Well, Earl Nightingale said 5 years. So when I finished the first year, well, I got 4 years. Now I've got 3 years. And I'm doing a countdown. I'm thinking I'm Cape Canaveral. How long will it take? How long will it take? And about halfway into my 5-year journey, one day I stopped asking the question, how long will it take? Because something happened within me. I began to internally be transformed and changed from the growth that I was getting in my life. And I can still remember the day I quit asking, how long will it take? And I started asking, how far can I go? Wow. How far can I go?
Rarely are we instant experts. You may have a particular gift or affinity towards something, but you still get better. People would pay me high compliments when I started speaking, and then people who've seen me a year or two later say that I'm even better, and I feel it.
Why is that?
Because you learn more. I think that hubris is dangerous. I think to think that you're an expert in anything is a foolish pursuit. You're never as good as you could be. There's always room for improvement. There's always room to get better.
That doesn't mean you have to listen to all the advice. Not necessarily does everybody know best, but to believe that you can be better, and to believe that you can offer more is a constant pursuit. I used to think being a public speaker meant being poised and presenting in a way that was compelling and speaking at the right pace, and that's a part of it. But I have been taking more risks lately, doing things that are very unstructured and very uncomfortable. And I will now do, like if I have an hour to speak, I'd rather speak for 20 minutes and do 40 minutes worth of questions. And who knows how that's going to go. And that to me is the best. And so I'm a better speaker because now I'm way more open to the unknown, where a few years ago that would have scared me.